Hello student, this is chapter 4, the Mughal Empire, part 2. We have completed up to Akbar and his conquest and his northern and southern India policies. Now, after the death of Akbar, his son Jahangir became the ruler, and when he became the ruler, he followed the policies of Akbar, and he was also very much liberal like Akbar, and he took the title of Nuruddin Jahangir, that means conqueror of the world. So what were about the campaigns and conquests which he has taken? In 1630 he defeated Rana Amar Singh of Mewar. He conquered Kangra, Awadh and Bengal. What about the Deccan policy? Prince Khurram, he sent Prince Khurram and against Malik Amber. In 1616, Ahmednagar became free, but after some times it again became independent. In AD 1622, the Persian attacked and conquered Kandahar, which was under Mughal control earlier. But in 1622, the Kandahar was again captured by the Persians. Campaign against Sikhs and Ahoms were not successful. Prince Khurram rebelled against Jahangir during his last years. Now, what was the relation with Europeans of Jahangir? Jahangir has a very good relation with the European travelers which started to come during his rule. At that time, Portuguese, Dutch, English arrived in India. He was liberal with the Portuguese traders, but later when they were not following the rules, he attacked when the Portuguese attacked the Mughal ship, the permission was refused to do the trade here, was refused by Jahangir. So he was very strict with the traders, and Jahangir would like to treat them as a trader only. They don't want them to be powerful. So some European travelers which travelled in India during this time period were two Englishmen, William Hawkins and Sir Thomas Roe, and 1608 to 1600 they stayed for 3 years. William Hawkins stayed here for 3 years, and Sir Thomas Roe was able to obtain concession for British traders. They have been a detailed account of Jahangir's court and administration, and Jahangir died in 1627. So actually during the time period of Jahangir, he was liberal with the Portuguese, and he has given permission first time to the British traders to trade here. Okay, so Noor Jahan. Who was Noor Jahan? Noor Jahan was actual name was Mehrunissa. He was daughter of Imadullah, a noble in Akbar's court. Her first marriage was with Sher Afghan. He was governor of Bengal. In 1611, he married Jahangir. After marriage, in 1611 she married Jahangir, and after getting married, Noor Jahan was given the title of Noor Jahan, which means the light of the world. Mehrunissa was given the title of Noor Jahan, which means the light of the world. She was very, what was the importance of Noor Jahan? Why we are reading Noor Jahan among the Mughal empires, among the Mughal emperors? Because she was very intelligent and creative. She got creative ability, and she have given opinion. She was given opinion on state and administrative matters. She was very influential in that time. Okay. As a mark to honor Noor Jahan, Jahangir has struck silver coins by her names. Shah Jahan. His time period was from 1627 to 1650. Shah Jahan was the son of Jahangir. He also took the title of Shah Jahan. His actual name was Khurram. So Shah Jahan means the ruler of the world. So at that time it was a fashion taking different titles or giving yourself so much importance. What was his conquest? He has to face many rebellions like in 1816-28 Jujhar Singh Bundela chief rebelled. Afghan noble Khani Jahan Lodi Subedar of Deccan also rebelled, but both were defeated and killed. Uh, Expansion of his kingdom, Bundelas were defeated and Orcha was seized by Shah Jahan. Ahmednagar was conquered. Bijapur and Golconda both were agreed to pay an annual tribute to the Mughal Empire. What was his northwest policy? His ambition was to reconquer territories in Central Asia. He wanted Balkh, Badkhshan, so that he could invade Samarkand, which was his ancestral, belonged to the ancestor Tamur, and but the Mughal army failed. But they were not able to fulfill this expedition because it was a mountainous region, and the climate was not favorable, and for this reason this expedition was failed. Kandahar was under Aurangzeb. This expedition was also failed. Kandahar, they also wanted to capture Kandahar, but this expedition was also failed because Aurangzeb went there personally to this expedition, but this also not successful because the Kandahar, the Persians have got a superior technology of using artillery. So because of the lack of technology, they lose this also. And what about the relation with European traders? That means Shah Jahan, what was the relation of Shah Jahan with the European traders which have entered during the time period of Jahangir? European traders were looked upon as mere traders. They have not given any kind of extra concessions. In 1657-1658, there was a conflict among his sons for the succession, on the matter of succession, as who will become the king. Aurangzeb among them become victorious because he killed his brothers, and he imprisoned his father Shah Jahan and then become king. Aurangzeb, after the death, after imprisoning and killing his two brothers, he became the king. He became the Mughal Empire. Come to the Mughal Empire. Aurangzeb was the last great Mughal ruler. Matlab, after death of Aurangzeb, no one was strong and powerful to have control over such a vast empire. So during his time period, he had to face many revolts, especially by the peasants like Jet peasants and Satnamis peasants and Bundelas, because he has increased the land tax, which was 50% of the produce. So due to this, he had to face many revolts from the peasants. What was his relation with Rajput, Sikhs and Maratha? He has a long rivalry with all these Rajput, Sikhs and Marathas. During the time period of Akbar, the relation with Mughals and Rajput were very good, but Aurangzeb was of a different nature. He was very orthodox, religious, and he was a nature of intervention. That means he already always interrupted with the internal policies of Rajput kings. That was not good for their relation. So it led to a bitter relation with the Rajputs, especially Amber and Mewar. Sikhs. What about Sikhs? He don't have a good relation with Sikhs also because he disrespect their gurus. First of all, what did he do? Guru Arjan Dev was executed by Jahangir for helping his prince Khurram. Guru Tegh Bahadur refused to convert and was executed. Guru Tegh Bahadur was brought to the king, and he was told that you accept either you convert or you ready to die. So he refused to get converted to Islam, so he was executed, he was killed. Now, by seeing this, their Guru Gobind Singh organized all the Sikhs and have a militant force, made a militant force that was known as Khalsa. So they have a very very bitter conflict between Mughals and Khalsa. And after the death of Aurangzeb, the Sikhs were become powerful and they were able to establish their own empire. Shivaji, Maratha kingdom. Shivaji was a very big threat to the Mughals because as we can see that he was spent most of the time in the southern part of India. Shaista Khan, Raja Jai Singh, they all wanted to capture Shivaji at different time period, but Shivaji was they failed, and Shivaji was always able to escape from Aurangzeb, and he was not able to, until he was died, he was not able to recapture Shivaji. And Mughals and Maratha had a very very bitter conflict. The campaign against the Deccan Sultanate. Aurangzeb has sent armies against Deccan Sultanate. Rajput kingdoms were annexed in 1686. Golconda was annexed in 1687. And Aurangzeb was personally managing all the affairs of Deccan from 1698 against the Marathas, who was now started guerrilla warfare. Ahoms in the northeast also rebelled again in 1680. Death of Aurangzeb. 1707, Aurangzeb when died, Mughal Empire was on verge of disintegration. The reason was royal treasury was almost empty due to the Deccan campaign. The long stay of Aurangzeb in Deccan gave rise to many revolts in the north. New groups have emerged which showed loyalty to the new religious regional powers. He was a very staunch Sunni Muslim ruler, so he was not liberal to the other religions, and he was known as a Jinda Pir. He has reimposed Jizya, a non-Muslim tax, and gradually all these policies of Akbar pushed the empire towards decline. The administration of the Mughals. The Mughals' administration was a central monarchy. The king was all the absolute power. The officials, different officials are Mir Bakshi. The king was head of civil and military administration. He was held by the different officials. Mir Bakshi, who looked after the military administration. Wazir looked after the revenue department. Sadri Sudar keep the records of grants and donations. Khane Saman was keep the records of royal households. Provincial administration. The total empire was divided into 15 provinces, which was called Subas, and it was headed by Subedar. The provinces was again divided into district, and these districts were again divided into parganas, and parganas include a number of villages. Kotwal was the officer in charge, and he was performing both the civil and police duties. As he was maintaining law and order, he was keeping a check on weights and measure, and he had to make a list of people who are living in the area under his jurisdiction. What was the revenue system in the Mughal Empire? The main source of revenue was land tax. Two tax were paid through rural elites who were called zamindars. Raja Todarmal was a courtier of Akbar, and he introduced a land revenue system which was called bandobast. The main features of the bandobast was the land was measured and divided into three categories: good, middle and bad. Land revenue was fixed according to the fertility of the land, and land revenue was 1/3 of the produce. And a survey was done after every 10 years, and the province was divided into revenue circles with its own rate for individual crops. This revenue system was called Zabt. Some areas, zamindars become very powerful and revolted. Peasants revolted were common after the death of Aurangzeb. Why? Because the zamindars used to take more taxes, which were fixed, than the kings. Okay, Mansabdar and Jagirdars. Mansab means a rank or a position. This was introduced by Akbar. This Mansabdari system was from the time period of Akbar. Mansab means a rank or position, and the person who is holding this position was called Mansabdar. It was introduced by Akbar, and its chief feature was a grading system which was used to fix rank, salary, and military responsibilities. Zat was the numerical value. Zat means the number of troops. The person who is keeping the most number of troops will be on high rank and high salary. Mansabdar had to maintain a fixed number of troops. Mansabdar gets salary through Jagir or land grant. Due to the expansion of empire, there was a shortage of Jagirs. According to Mansabdari system, every official was given a Mansabar rank. He had to supply the king a fixed number of troops. He was paid through Jagirs and not cash. His post was transferable. A person was promoted from low to high rank. Mansab was not hereditary. After death, the Mansab can be taken back and given to someone else. Now we will know about Akbar policies. Akbar policies were very important because he was of a liberal minded and he thought of all the people. Abul Fazl wrote Akbarnama. In this we can know about the Akbar policies. Akbarnama has got 3 volumes. The first volume contains the detail about Akbar's ancestors. Second volume contains the chief events of Akbar's region, and the third volume contains Ain-e-Akbari. In this, administration, army, household, revenue, and the geography of the empire can be learned. Sulke-Kul, he was of liberal minded and he has a discussion with all the religious people of all the religion, of all the important religion. So after discussion he come to the conclusion that of universal peace. How can universal peace can be gained? He believed in universal peace that are not a religion but a system of ethics which emphasized on values such as honesty, peace and justice, which is the base of every religion. So based on the principles of tolerance and harmony, Akbar focused on a new sect which was called Deen-e-Ilahi. Deen-e-Ilahi means religion of one God. Akbar never forced anything to accept the new faith because he was liberal to all the religion. But the Deen-e-Ilahi was not successful because it was ended with the death of Akbar. That's it in this chapter. Go through it and give me your feedback.